Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous IXL tutorial. Today we're working on IXL C.7, multiply and divide integers. All right. If you haven't already watched IXL C6 with the rules, I would encourage you to go and watch that first before going into this one. Now, this one just takes IXL C6 just one more step to where you're going to have to just do some multiplication. But IXL C6 that we just did, we'll talk about the rules on whether it's positive, negative, and so forth. So if you seem a little bit confused about that, enjoy the last video that was posted, IXL C6. It's going to help you out a lot with the signs. Just a quick recap. If you want to just jump right into it, here's what we're going to do. When it comes to multiplication, when you have a positive number multiply a positive number, the answer is going to be a positive number, whatever it is. So you just multiply it out. Now, when the number is negative, and you multiply by another negative, the answer still remains positive. Now, the only case that's left is what if one's negative multiplied times a positive? Well, when they're opposite, the answer is going to give you a negative. And it doesn't matter. It can be the other way, too. You can do a positive times a negative, also gives you a negative. All right. After you got the sign figured out, now you're just going to go ahead and just multiply straight out and see what happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 4 times 8. Well, 4 times 8 is going to give us 32. Now I got to use my little chart here to figure out is it positive 32 or negative 32. Because we have a negative multiply a positive, which are opposites, opposites are going to give you a negative result. So therefore, negative 4 times 8 will give you a negative 32. If you need to copy down the chart, go ahead and copy it down because feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, the chart is going to leave us for the next problem. All right, looks like you're ready to go. The video's keeping on rolling. All right. Same thing with division. All right. Whether it's multiply or division, we're going to use that same chart. So 20 divide negative 4 is going to give us 5. Now, because they're the same sign, we're going to go ahead and just call it positive. Okay, remember, negative, negative, whether it's multiply or divide, is going to be positive. So positive 5 is right. Now, how do you check it? Because division sometimes gets the best of people. The goal is when you multiply what's outside the house, in this case, negative 4 times 5, it should give you what's inside the house. So to check it, negative 4 times positive 5, is that negative 20? Well, absolutely. So we're good on that. All right, let's go ahead and move forward. We got ourselves another fantastic division problem. All right, 14 divides 7 goes 2 times. And because we have a negative and a positive number and they're opposite signs, the answer has to be a negative 2. Again, go back to that chart that we did at the beginning of the video. That's going to help you out there. All right, here we go. 6 times 5 is 30. We have a positive times a negative, and because they're opposite signs, it should give us a negative. So negative 30 is going to give us the correct answer here. All right, division. Division is asking you, well, how many times does the 4 go into the 8? Well, 4 goes into 8 2 times. Now, because we have a negative and a negative here, we need a opposite because it's divide. We need a positive number. So again, how do you check that? How do you know? Because what happens here is the two numbers on the outside multiplied together must give you what's on the inside here. So to check, negative 4 times a positive 2, opposite signs, gives you a negative result. So therefore, positive 2 will be the right answer on this one. All right, we're at a smart score of 43, rocking and rolling on 5. Now, once in a lucky while, you get everything that's positive. So it's asking you 5 times what gives you 40. Well, last time I remember, 5 times 8 will give you 40. And all positives stay positive. So that one's always a nice one to have like that. All right, next one. We got 5 times 9. 5 times 9 is 45. And because we have a negative times a positive, it's going to give you a negative result. So negative 45 on this one. All right, next one. We have a negative 55 divide negative 11. First of all, same signs, so it's going to give you a positive result. So 55 divide 11 is 5. And again, because they have the same sign, they need to be positive. And if you're worried about checking that, well, how do you check your work? How's that possible? Well, go backwards. Is it true that 11 times, actually, is it true that negative 11 times 5 gives you negative 55? And the answer is yes, so that's a great way of checking. All right, next up, we got negative 1 times negative 7. So same sign, it's going to be positive, and 1 times 7 is 7. Again, same sign, positive. All right, next up, we got a positive, so the answer is going to be positive. 5 goes into 35 how many times? 5 goes into 35. Oh, yeah, that's 7 times. And you can check it because 5 times 7 is 35. So what's on the outside of the house is what's on the inside. All right. It looks kind of complicated. We have a large number of 60 but times 1. But wait a minute. 60 times 1 is still 60 because 1 doesn't change the result. Now, what we got to do is be careful because we have a negative times a negative. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So 60 will be the right answer here. All right, everybody's favorite fractions, but you know what? Fractions are the same thing as division. So what this is asking for is 54 divided 18. Now, 54 divided 18, well, it gives you 3. Now, if you need a calculator, you could technically use a calculator, but it'd be better to think about it because 18 times 1 is 18, okay? What's 18 times 2? Oh, 18 times 2 is 36. But then you do 36, add one more 18. That's how you get 54. That's how I did that in my head. You're probably wondering, well, how'd you do that without a calculator? Well, 18 times 2 is, I know it's 36, but then you just add another 18, it's 54. So we know it's 3. Now I got to go back and check my signs because we have a negative and a positive. A negative and a positive will give us a negative because they're opposite signs. Our ribbons are looking good. I'm at a smart score of 75. Looks like I need to do another 2 more problems, and we're going to be right on. All right, so we got 126 divide 18. Oh boy, they just really wanted to make this more difficult. All right, so this one, I want to try to be fair. I want to try to do it in my head. So I know from the last problem, remember we did 18 times 3 is 54? Well, 54 is just a little bit more than half of 100. So if I do 54 times 2 more, that's going to give us 108. So now that's 18 times 3 times 2 is 6 equals 108. Now I'm getting really close to 126. Now it looks like if I squeeze out another 18 plus 18, that will give us 126. So ultimately, 18 times 7 will give you 126. Now, you can do this however you want, but I thought this was pretty creative because we're using previous knowledge from another problem, which I know 18 times 3 gave us 54. Well, what if we double that? We're getting close. We'll add one more 18. There, we hit it right there. So dividing, it's 18 times 7 that we're looking for. So 126 divided 18 is 7. Now we need to check our signs here because we have a positive divided positive. Same sign, stays the same sign, so stays positive. And for our last problem, we got negative 9 times negative 60. Oh boy. Last problem, let me just make it a little bit hard. So I'm not worried about the signs, though I am worried about just multiplying it out. So we're going to multiply 60 times 9. Well, 9 times 0 is 0. That worked out nice. And 9 times 6, 9 times 6, I believe is 54. Oh, check that out. 9 times 60 is 540. Last thing I got to check is because they have the same sign, negative and negative, 540 will be the correct answer as a positive answer. And there we have it, smart score of 81. All right, this concludes the fabulous tutorial for IXL C.7, multiply and divide integers. Have yourself a fantastic day.